Okay, what's up? So in this video, I'm going to show you how we can use Claude Code inside of Orchestra to automate basically anything. What you're seeing here is actually an approval step in between two Claude Code tasks. And it's pretty cool because if I take a look at the details, we can see exactly what the message it's asking me to do is. It says charts to delete, none. No charts found. All the Lightdash API key isn't set. So let's go into this pipeline definition and see exactly what it is we're trying to automate here. If I go and take a look at what this is doing, we'll see that all we're doing is actually running this script called agent.py. And what agent.py is it's a wrapper around the Claude SDK that allows us to pass in a prompt that can actually basically do anything. So if you take a look at the Claude prompt, I'm saying return a list of Lightdash charts, I haven't even spelled charts properly, with less than 30 views, give me a string of those IDs, and set this as an environment variable. Now you're probably thinking, well, how does this know that it can go to Lightdash? Like, where is the Lightdash API key? And the reason we can do that, and the reason that our lovely agent is telling us exactly what's happening here, is in the Python connection. So every time we run something in Python, we have a connection object. And that connection looks a little bit like this. And you'll see that I've actually got my Lightdash API token here, as well as my Anthropic API key, which is obviously critical for running Claude. So that's the kind of like the first step. I guess because this is a workflow I don't necessarily want to just automate out of the box, I've got this approval step in the middle. And all we're doing here is we're going to take the Lightdash chart IDs, which is just an environment variable, and display it in a message for somebody to look at. And if you wanted to send this to Slack, you could send it to Slack. It doesn't have to all be done from here. Cool. And then the last thing we're doing is we're actually running the same agent script. So there's no difference here with the other one, but we are putting in another prompt. And I've made it a little bit more complicated than it needs to be because I've added a matrix, which just means that if you wanted to have many prompts like this and parallelize all of them at once, so maybe you want to review some code and then create some PRs, you can do these all in parallel. You could put them all in one massive task, but personally I prefer to split them out a bit. And this task is just saying delete these charts. Here are the charts. Here are the IDs. So in this case, there is actually nothing to delete, but there could be something to delete. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go and click approve, no charts, so proceed. And then that is going to start this final step. And I'll come back in a second just so that you can see the logs here, and then we'll finish the video. Okay, so we can see that we've run the delete charts task, and Claude has boast of things. It's identified that there were no chart IDs, so it's asked us for some chart IDs. So it would be nice if this ended in a failed state, but at least Claude has shown us what we're going to do, which is quite nice. The jury is out, in my opinion, on whether or not that should just be a Python script where you just pass the Lightdash IDs or chart IDs into a script. But I think the pattern is nice. And that's because if I save this, you can have a look and see exactly what code this is. And, in terms of getting monitoring, infrastructure, all you really need to do is edit this Claude prompt, which is pretty cool. And in less than 100 lines of code, you basically have an agent that takes in a prompt to find things that were disused and then delete them. And then, it could just sort of get it right. So yeah, this is just a little insight into how we can use things like the Claude SDK within the Orchestra Python integration to, basically run agents in a slightly more production-y environment. So yeah, would be super curious to get people's thoughts on this, and yeah, drop us a like.